Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. And during the course of my 5 minutes, I'd like to invite members of the families of our nominees to take a breath, remove your masks for 5 minutes if you wish. I know it can be a long haul with those masks on. Mr. Ueda, great to see you again. Thanks for being here. Congratulations on your nomination. The SEC recently released Accounting Bulletin 121. This is the SEC staff. And they stated that reporting companies and most importantly their custodians should hold digital assets as an on-balance sheet liability. I'm really concerned about that because I think that actually weakens investor protections because in the event of insolvency, customer assets are safer from creditors being held off balance sheet and further segregated from the company's assets. Do you have any thoughts on this?
So thank you for your question on this. So I am familiar with the staff accounting bulletin, or SAB as they like to call it on the SEC staff, SAB 121, just at a very high level, and have not had time to become well-versed in the details or to have discussions with the SEC staff about it. I'll note it was a staff position. It was not approved by a vote of the members of the commission. There has been a tremendous amount of concern raised that I've seen in the past week alone about it. And so if confirmed, it is something that I would want to look much more into and have a discussion with the staff. One of the other concerns I think is we have a process for whenever there's a new rule of general applicability or you attach new conditions or requirements on existing rules to approve those through the notice and comment process under the Administrative Procedure Act. And when you have something that is effectively a rule that calls into question whether it should go through that process, and that also, I should say, raises questions about the ability of this committee to engage in oversight under the Congressional Review Act of any rule. So if confirmed, I would want to talk with the staff. I would also want to talk with the federal and state banking regulators as to how this interplays with their regulatory regimes. And then, lastly, I would just note that, the staff, the SAB, the bulletin itself expressly states that it is just a position of the staff. It is not a rule of the commission, nor has it received the official approval of the SEC.
Thank you for your response. I would note that the Securities Industry and Financial Markets Association and Bank Policy Institute sent me a really detailed letter this morning, concerned about the lack of public comment around this big shift in policy and highlighting how this guidance could weaken important safeguards around custody of client assets. Madam Chairman, I ask for unanimous consent that it be entered into the record. And I urge everyone to take a look at it. Thank you for your response. Mr. Barr, switching to you, good to see you again, too. My question for you is, do the Basel III capital standards establish a separate prudential capital treatment relating to on-balance sheet custody accounts?
Senator, there are particular rules. Yes, in the Basel framework, capital treatment is different for customer accounts in general.
It's my understanding that with regard to the capital standards at Basel III regarding this subject, that they do not. But we can discuss that at another time. And that's because custody accounts are generally off balance sheet from an accounting perspective, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Are you familiar with the Bank for International Settlements proposed prudential treatment of crypto asset exposures?
I have not read the BIS proposal in this area.
Okay, well, I'll let you know, to my knowledge, it's correct that this proposed capital framework explicitly declined to create prudential requirements for custody of digital assets. And we'd be happy to just send that to you. If U.S. bank regulators were to impose separate requirements around bank custody activities for digital assets, or if they were required to be accounted for as a liability on a bank's balance sheet, that would be different from international norms as I understand them. And so I worry that that might make them uncompetitive. Can you commit to discussing this further with me?
Yes, I'd be happy to discuss this further with you, Senator.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chairman. I urge all members to look at this important issue. So we might need to address this at some point. But to all of our nominees again, congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Lummis. So thank you to our nominees for being here today and providing testimony.